Hey guys, it's Lisa back with another video for you for Lisa Wise Designs, and today we're going to get started on our Christmas in July project that we are calling Countdown to Christmas. So if you picked up this kit, you are going to have a set of 4 wooden blocks in your kit, and that's what we're going to be doing today, is turning these blocks into something like this. If you haven't heard about this project yet, since this is our first video, there is one video that kind of has an overview of the project that you want to just back up one video for, or I will link the playlist down in the description below. But we're going to be making with this project a matchbook style folio album, and then this little home decor piece that goes with it that helps you count down the days from around Thanksgiving until Christmas. So let's get started here. If you want to pick up the project, again, the link is down below to my Etsy shop. So this is kind of where we're going with that. So I'm just kind of put this off to the side here. And what I have done, I've done a little bit of prep work. You want to go to your cutting guide and go to the Countdown to Christmas blocks. It should be the first 4 pages of your cutting guide. And I'm going to be cutting these mat pieces here, or I already have, sorry. So I cut 8 pieces at 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. And then all of them will be 1 1/4. And so then the B pieces is 1 3/8. The C is 3 3/8, and the D is 3 7/8. So what I did is I started with an 8 1/2 by 11 sheet of paper and just cut long strips. I cut 5 of them at 1 1/4 of an inch. And then I turned them around and did all of these cuts since they all started with that 1 1/4. That seemed to be the fastest thing for me. And I just dropped my paper. Un momento, por favor. Okay. So after you've done that, now let's go ahead and label them, and then we can work with some pattern paper. I had this question not too long ago, so I thought I would tell you. The way I label my black paper is with a Signo Uniball gel pen. I use silver. Any type of gel pen would probably work. But white for me just doesn't, I don't know, whatever's made up in the white doesn't work and doesn't show up to me, but silver does a perfect job. It almost looks white, but it does great. Just make sure if you do that you always put it in the center, because you know you're going to be matting around the edges. About 1/4 of an inch usually shows, or 1/8 of an inch. So just put it in the center. And if it's a big piece with score lines, just stay away from those score lines, about 1/4 of an inch. All right, so I'm going to move this out of the way and move this over to the side a little bit. So then let's start working on our pattern paper. These are the 3 that I'll be using. This red and white snowflake, this red, white, and black little checks. It's kind of hard to see in the camera. It kind of hurts. And then this sleigh, Santa and sleigh in the red and white. So those are the 3 I'm going to grab. And once again, see if I can put this in the center of the screen, or the top of the screen, so you can kind of see where we're going with this. So if you want, you can follow along. On page 1, you should be able to do this piece that we talked about with the black. We're going to skip this. I'm going to come back to this, how to lay out the letters. Let's go ahead and do some cutting of the pattern paper. So we're going to be at the top of page 2. So we're going to grab that red and white snowflake, and we're going to cut 4 pieces at 1 1/8 by 1 1/8. So if you are familiar with your trimmer, you should know where 1 1/8 is, but sometimes that can be a little difficult if you're not used to finding those small measurements. So I'm going to start with 1 1/8. So 1 1/8 is right before 1 1/4. So it's between 1 and 1 1/4. So we're going to do 1 1/8 by 1 1/8, and we need 4 of those. Now, if you wanted to be persnickety, like I am sometimes, you could do some strategic cutting like this. See, I'm going to cut off this little piece here. Let me move my trimmer up, sorry. And then I think I can get most of this snowflake here in my next cut like that. So instead of having this in there, I have that. So you don't have to do that, but you might want to think about it here. And just take a look at it before you trim it. See how this teeny tiny snowflake is here, and I'm going to get half of that snowflake. I think that's going to look cool. That'll look neat. Let's see, 1 and 8. I think that's going to be okay. But you don't have to do it that way. See, I'm going to turn this one around and take it and just give me an option. There's an extra one. So see, I can choose which one of these that I like. Or you don't have to be so, like I say, persnickety. So we have 4 of those. I cut me an extra one there. And let's go ahead and get 4 of the A pieces. So half of those A pieces. And we're just going to glue these straight down here. So if you like to ink the edges, now would be the time to go ahead and grab that. I like the baby snowflake, but I really like having the majority of this one. Let's see what that looks like. That one's got a little one in it. I think I'm not going to do that one. So let me grab my ink. I probably hid it for myself. Here we go. So I am using Distress ink in Black Soot and then an ink blender. So I'm going to be using that on this project and just go around the edges. This is also very optional, but I just like the way it looks on the edges. I'm not trying to make the edges look dirty, but I just want to knock that white core back. There. So then you're going to want some liquid glue. I have been using this Bearly Art glue for a little while, and I really, really like it. I like the little stopper that comes with it, so I don't have to use a pen all the time. So you're just going to be matting right to the center here of these little bitty blocks. So these are going to be going on the outside edges of the wooden blocks, and I'll show you what I mean. It's very easy to figure out where those cut lines are. One thing I'll mention as I'm doing this is all of these blocks were made by hand, not by, machinery in a big company. So we by saying that, I mean my sister, who is such a nice woodworker, she cut all the blocks down, she hand sanded them and hand stained them. So as we're going through here, just keep that in mind. Yours may be, one may be a little bit darker than another, one may be a little bit shorter than another, but it's all going to work out great because you're just going to see the very edges because we're going to be matting these. So I'm going to grab those 2 small blocks and I'm going to turn them to the ends here, so you can tell the cut ends versus the sides. So you should have, 4 cut ends. So those are the ones that these are going to be going on those cut ends. So you just want to do a dry fit. You just want to make sure that it doesn't go over, and it shouldn't on this. But like I say, everyone is going to be different. So I would always do a dry fit because you have plenty of black cardstock and you have plenty of pattern paper. So if you need to trim something out or trim an extra, you don't have to worry. We have plenty of that. All right. So after those, I'm going to flip it over to the other ends. I'm not doing those 4 sides. I'm just doing the ends where you can see where the cuts were. And gluing these down. Right in the center there. This is going to be so cute. Now you can choose to use different patterns, paper, of course. Just choose something with a smaller pattern print. You don't want something really large because we're doing such small cuts that it might not make sense if you don't. Okay, so this is one of the smaller prints in this paper pack. Is one of the reasons I chose it. So let's move on. We are now here in the middle of page 2. So we're going to be working on some of the B mats, or all the B mats. So we're using the same pattern paper, using this. So now we're going to cut another strip of 1/8 of an inch. So we have a little bit left from the last one, but we're going to need another one. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Give me another strip of 1/8 of an inch. Okay. So now we still have this big piece left. All right. So now we need 8 pieces at 1 1/4. Here, and then I'm going to take one of these, and I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to put my B piece, just dry fitting before I cut all of these, on the side, and this here on the top, and just see if that looks like what I want it to. So yeah, mine looks good. So I'm just going to keep cutting 1 1/4 strips off this 1 1/8. 1, 2. Let's see. I'm gonna cut it this way. Yeah, I'm getting more of that out of there. So 1, 2, 3. So I got 4. This one will be a little strategic, so I want that. Yeah, I think this one is good. So those are all cute. Okay, so there's 8 of those. So be sure and keep all of these little strips. We're going to be using a lot of this smaller pieces of pattern paper as we go along. So let me know down below if you like to ink the edges of your projects, all of them, or if it just depends. For me, I would say just about every project I make, I ink the edges. It may not all be black. Sometimes I like to use a brown shade, like a walnut stain or a vintage photo, but usually, unless I'm really pressed for time, I like to do this piece. I just think it gives it a finished look. And most of the time I like to match my ink to the cardstock that I'm using. All right, so now we need to get out these B pieces. Have 8 of those. And just start gluing down. So since the blocks are cut and stained for you, this should be a really easy, enjoyable process. That's what we really strive to do, is give you something that will be fun to do, but not cause a lot of work, a lot of stress. When we get into the folio, you will see that you can make one of those pretty quickly. I would say on a Saturday, especially if you've made more than one, you'll see how to put it together, and you can throw one together really quick for some Christmas presents. So I tried not to make this project so elaborate, I guess the word is, with so many flips and flaps and so many things that would take you a few days to do. So this one, like my last Christmas project, you should be able to put together pretty quickly. Now I am coming out with something this fall that is going to be a little more elaborate. It's going to take a little bit more time. We're going to be making a wallet that goes into a box, and then there's going to be other things in that box, so it'll be cute. Oh, it's going to be so cute, especially if you have been to a magical theme park, or you have just traveled in general this year, which I know a lot of people have. You might want to pick that up later. So going back to these small blocks, now these 8 are going to go on these edges here. So, You know, I really think since these have numbers on it, it might be easier to put the numbers on the blocks first. Did I do that in the, you know, I don't think I did. I can't remember. Anyway, I'm gonna put these to the side. No, look at me being all, can't figure out. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put them on here because I'm afraid since 1 1/4 by 1 1/8 that we might get messed up and put one on sideways. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put them on the blocks, and they're going long ways. Just make sure you dry fit them first on each block. Don't assume that they're going to all fit. Like I say, everything's hand cut and sanded. Give yourself time to make any adjustments. There's a little puppy outside barking, so she's setting off my dog. And now my little Furbo is telling me your dog's barking. Like I don't already know that, Furbo. This is so cute. I love a good countdown to Christmas, or a nativity scene, or a, oh yeah, it's just a little dog out there. I already warned Latte this morning if she wasn't good, she was gonna have to go in her room. And her room consists of a decent sized laundry room with a baby gate so she can still see out. And that usually calms her down and she goes to bed and is quiet. But she'd rather be out with all the folks, like any nosy dog would be. Uh-oh. My bottle's getting low, so it's tipping over easy. Okay. Aren't these cute? I just love the homemade aspect of it. So cute. Sorry, I know I'm so far away. It's so cute. All right, so there is that piece of it. I don't know if I'll be able to see them over here. So let's keep going. We are now gonna put the numbers on it. So we're at the top of page 3. Okay, so that I don't bug you guys, I'm gonna go put her up and I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Let's keep going. In your kit, you have a white piece of cardstock. Now we're gonna use this cardstock later on, but for now we're gonna use it kind of as a backdrop. So I'm going back over here to page 1 where it shows you kind of how to lay this out. So I would not open this baggie until you need these letters because there's lots of little pieces in here. And we've tried really hard to make sure that these Cricut letters, you get everything, even the dot of that one eye. And on the back of that piece of paper, you do get some of these blings. There's 2 strips of bling. One a little larger than the other. So I'm gonna put those in my little handy dandy tray that I like to use. So this is like a 7x9 plastic drawer divider that you can just get at any type of office store. I like to use that here. So just following my little map here because it does have to go on a certain way on the blocks for it to work from, I think it's 32 on down. I didn't explain that well. So you can count down 32 days and down by putting it in these certain order on the blocks. So there's not going to be 2 9s like a 99 days, if that makes sense. So here is the 5, 6. So I'm just following my little road map here. 2. Okay, I've got mine all laid out. So just like my little road map here, I've got 2 zeros, 2 ones, 2 twos, and then a 3, 6, 4, 7, 5, 8. And then it says days until Christmas. And then I have these little straggles here that probably came out of the center of some of the letters. And then I also have some of the letters that need to be the centers popped out. So I'm going to take a pokey tool and the center of my H, I'm just going to push that through and just gently pull on the back just in case it tears a smidge. So there's that one. I had a little piece here in the top of my R, the little cursive and the S. So just take your time. You can take a toothpick or a pokey tool of some sort. And I like to push from the front and then kind of pull it off from the back, like I say, just in case it tears a slight bit, because if it tears the back, no one will ever be the wiser. Okay, so that looks pretty good now. All right, so here's a couple little pieces. So one of these that looks like a raindrop is the dot for your eye. So keep one of those. If you don't find that, you can always punch one from a hole punch, or you can use one of these little sparklies when we get to that. You can choose to use one of those to dot your eye. So never fear if you can't find it, because there's lots of little pieces in there. So now that we've got this all nice and laid out, let's go back to these blocks here. And we're just going to make sure one column is for one block, another column is for the second block. So just be sure you're going in that order, or you may not have ones that are going to work together. So let me, make sure which way I'm going here. Yeah, okay. And what I'm saying that is, like if you have both of your twos on one block, you're not going to be able to do 22 days till Christmas. I think you get the point. Okay. So it might be easier to do one block at a time so that I don't talk and mess myself up here. I'm just going to center them up. Flipping the block over and doing one column on one block, the other column on the other. Just give yourself some time to let it dry. This is what it looks like so far. 0, 1, 2. Flip it over one more time to do the 3 here. Right, so now that we've got these 4 sides done, then I'm going to flip it over one and do my 4. Right, and flip over to this side and do my 5. Probably should be using tweezers. It might be a little easier, but anyway. All right, so I'm going to come, I'm going to do my second block just like that. So you're going to have some that are upside down because it's going to be, impossible not to on the sides like this. So I'm going to do this block. So, but let me show you where we're going with this. So this is the front. I'm going to hold it in my hand, flip it. So this is going to be the back. So if you have this on a coffee table or somewhere where you can see all sides, and then this will be the side. So we're going to do all the sides and the back. We're just not going to be doing the bottoms. All right. So I'm going to do the second block and come right back. All right. So now my number blocks are done. So if it is 32 days to Christmas, 31, 30, and then start with 29, and then you would go to 27. And here's the thing, 29 is also 26. Does that make sense? So there's not a 6 and a 9 because this one is your 6 and your 9. I just wanted to point that out for you. Okay, so now that is done. So let's see where we are. Just don't knock this off, which is I'm scared I'm going to do. So now we're going to be decorating the medium and the large blocks and then putting these letters on there. So we are now in the middle of page 3. All right, so I have to bring over my trimmer, but I'm gonna move this off my desk so that I don't knock it off and have to start over putting those back in order. All right, so I'm going to have this sheet and this sheet. So this one's the next one. So this is our medium one. So once again, I need 1 1/8, which is a little more than 1 and a little less than 1 1/4. So I need 2 pieces that is 1 1/8 by 1 1/8. Okay, these are going to be my end pieces. Alright. So I'm going to grab 2 of my A black blocks, and these are going to go here. Alright, so I'm just going to put that there. Now I'm going to keep cutting. Now I still got 1 1/8, and I need 3 1/4. So 3 1/4 here. So this is going to be my C. Go here. So I need a couple more of those. So 3 1/4, and this is only if you want to do the back and the top and the back, because we're not going to do the bottom. Oh, and look, does that come out exactly? Almost. I said 3 1/4. That's exactly 3 1/4. Huh. Well, look at there. It's my lucky day. So 1 strip of 12 inches does that exactly. Okay. Gonna hit it with some black ink. I love it when that works out. But then also it makes me scratch my head and say, am I sure? Did I do that right? And have to double check myself. Almost kind of like when I'm at Walmart, where remember the days when we used to go into Walmart and we used to actually shop instead of doing pickup? Anyway, I digress. When I would go in and they would say, you know, it's exactly $34. But is it? Is it really? Okay, so now I'm just gonna glue these down. Yeah, let me know that too. Has anyone like stopped going into the stores for the most part, and you're doing like pickups now since that has become so popular? I really am enjoying it, to tell you the truth. Now I still will go in and pick up a thing or two in our smaller grocery store in town, but to do like Walmart or Target, I'm really enjoying the pickup aspect. And I think I actually save money because I'm not, you know, going up and down the aisles and doing all this last minute, you know, throwing stuff in the buggy. Yes, I think this paper is so pretty. I really love this. This checkered, so cute. Okay, almost done. Alright, so now we're going to grab our medium block. And I had already tested this before I went on screen, but I just want to make sure that you know to, when you cut those black pieces, especially to just do a dry fit first to make sure you don't need to trim it down or make it a teensy bit larger. So I am doing the ends first. Now's the time to decide. Like, see, I've got this little natural piece of the wood here that's got one of these I don't even know what that's called, but it's a little deformity here. So I might not want to put that on the front, or I might like that character. So just take a look at your wooden block and see if there's one side that you like more than the other and which one you want to be the front piece. Like I say, you're really only going to see the edges anyway, but now's the time to make that decision. So I don't think I want my deformity to show. I think I'm going to put that on the bottom. So by doing that, then these other three pieces, or these other three sides, is where I want to put this. So this one's going to be my front here. So I'm going to leave this one out so that it's easier for me to glue my letters on. And the other two, I'm just going to go ahead and put on here. Like I say, you just have to kind of think through, because the top and the back, you're not going to put any letters on. Only on the front one. And if you don't care, you could just go ahead and do two sides and then flip it. Say like this is the bottom. Not going to put anything there, so I've got one here on the back, one on the top, and this is going to be my front here. But to make things easier on myself, I am definitely going to put my letters on first. So grabbing this easy. So this should be kind of laid out where you start the D very close to the edge. But I will lay my letters out to make sure it all fits. And then I put a sticker in between the letters. So if you want to do it the same way, you'll want to make sure you're starting on the very edges and leaving some room in the middle. See how fiddly this can get like this? Oh, come on. Okay, stop playing around. There's a lot of different things on the market for this, but the one I have sitting to my side is a jewel picker that you can use. It's got sticky that will help you move things around. It will help you hold it so that you can put glue on it. So I'm going to use this to kind of help me move these around. Okay, and then I can use this to push them. So here is the one that I did earlier, so you can see. And then you've got some pretty good photos at the bottom of page 3 of this. But this is what I am going to do here. I'm going to get a little bit away and just leave a little bit of room in the center for that sticker. So it's easiest for me to pick it up with this thing. And then I could grab my tweezers, which I'll do that next, to make my life a little bit easier. And having this pattern on this paper really helps you to line up your letters too, to see that they're straight. Since there's lots, see there's a straight lines in the pattern paper, so that's very helpful too. Let's see if this makes it any easier. If I pick it up with this, just to get it out of there, and then I hold this kind of in the center. This one is from We Are Memory Keepers. This is their reverse tweezers. And then it dropped it. So I'm sure that was operator error. Anyway, I don't think there's the perfect way to do this. It's just all kind of fiddly because these are really, really thin letters. But because of the size of the blocks, just had to make it work. Yeah, you can only get so much on a block. Okay, so I'm going to finish gluing this down and then be right back. Okay, I've got my letters on here. Looking good. Now I'm going to do something with the center of that. So go to your sticker sheet. Okay, And just look for a small icon you would like to see in the center. What I did was a snowflake, which was the one right here by the truck. I'm trying to make sure. Yeah, it was this one here by the red truck. This is the one I used. Pull that off. But any small icon that would go with this paper pack would look great. So I'm just going to put that right there in the center between the days until. And then I'm going to go in to the bling that came in your kit, and I'm going to get the strip that's the pearl and the small silver bling. Now these are connected together, so when you're using these, you'll need to get a pair of scissors that has a really thin blade. These cutter bees are perfect for that. And you just need to snip right between the two. Just make sure your blade is really thin. Big thick scissors like this will not be able to fit through there. So then, now I've just trimmed right between those two silvers, and I'm gonna go, this is the way I like to do mine. I'm gonna get my little pokey tool, and I'm gonna run it right underneath it and pull it up like so. And then I can stick it down. So then I'm gonna go right in the center of that snowflake and then put some pressure on it. There we go, just like that. Can you see? It's got a little piece of bling. So cute. Okay, so I'm gonna put this back in the container before I forget. All right, so here's the block that's already done. So I'm gonna go back over here to my block. So I'm just gonna make sure I don't mess up. This is now the front, because this is the top and the back. Just like this, because I guess my brain keeps wanting to tell me to glue it to the top, but the top is not what's going to be seen, it's the front. Just like so. Just kind of center it. Be sure you put some pressure on it because it's got to make good contact. Like that. And I would give it a few minutes to dry before I do anything with it. But look how cute. There's the back, the top, the front, and the sides. Okay, so here's the medium one. So this is what we've got so far. This is gonna sit here. So now let's deal with the big one. So this one's gonna be a lot easier to glue down because it's one word with one dot here. But before that, we have got to do some trimming. So we're gonna use 2 pieces of our A and then our 3 D pieces here. All right, move you out of the way, Christmas. And do some trimming one more time. So now we're at the top of page 4. So we're going to use this Santa sleigh paper, and we're going to do some trimming here. So move that out of the way. So I'm going to be cutting again off the top, and like I say, you could be fiddly if you wanted to get this Santa and the sleigh. You might want to take a little bit off so you could get this right in your cut, because we're doing 1 1/8. So let me see what that would look like. 1 1/8. Yeah, I want to get that sleigh. So I'm going to cut a quarter. No, I'm going to cut about 1/8 of an inch off the top. No, that is right about. No, that's 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to take that off the top, but I'm going to keep this. And then I'm going to cut my 1 1/8. And that way I've got like the whole Santa and the reindeer, you know, just because I want that. All right. So let's see what we need. We are now doing 1 1/8 on the ends, but then I need 3 3/4. So I'm going to try to get this whole thing here. So let me see what 3 3/4 would be. And that would be cutting the sleigh off. I don't want to do that. I want to start here and get my sleigh, and then come over 3 3/4. And then it's going to basically cut the reindeer in half, but that's okay. What did I do last time? Yeah, it is going to cut it, but that's okay. I got the whole Santa. 3 3/4, so that's going to be one of those. So now this one, I need some 1 1/8 pieces. So I think this, and that's probably what I should have done, is just done 1 1/8 on here. There we go. So I just had this little sliver. Okay, so I'm going to do my next 1 1/8. Like I say, you don't have to be so fiddly, but that's just who I am. And then we need 2 more here, which is 3 3/4. So 3 3/4. So we're going to need 1 more strip of this paper. At 1 1/8 by 3 3/4. So then I could decide if I wanted this or if I want this again. I'm going with this. Okay, and I'm keeping all my leftovers because we can use all those strips as we are decorating those inserts for the photos. And you might have seen that in my first videos. We were going over it. So all of these tiny strips to the bigger strips, we will probably wind up using to help us decorate. And I love to do that. I love to have as little left as possible because I don't want to put it back in my stash when I only have a few stickers or a little bit of paper left, because we could make cards or a couple of small projects, but you know, in all likelihood, I'm not going to go back to that. I'm going to get the next paper, or the one I have more paper of. So I'd rather just use it and move on. Okay, so what I did last time, which no one is ever going to notice this, but I will. What I did last time is I had this on the bottom, and then this piece, which is the other part of the reindeer, was on this side, like this. It kind of continued, but you know, no one's ever going to notice that but me. But anyway, that's what I did. So I love this part. I love the matting. Don't necessarily love the construction, which I think there's always 2 sets of people in every class that I teach. There are people who love the construction, which is my mother, and then there are people who love the decorating or the matting part, which is me. It takes a lot longer to do the matting, but I love it. I love trying to figure it out, and I just love to see how it comes together. Let's see. There we go. And that's how I'm going to put mine on here. Like that. Yeah. Well, I'm out of frame, but that's okay. It's going to go like this. So on my bigger block, if I'm looking where I want to go, I want this to be my front, so that's going to be this. So I want this here. Alright, so if I did that here, but I'm not going to put it on there because I want to put my Christmas there, then this would be here. And like I say, it doesn't have to be this fiddly. How many times can you say that in one video? But I need to come up with a different word. It doesn't have to be this persnickety. And then that's going to go here. This one goes here. I gotta fill my glue before the next video. It's bugging me. Alright, so that's where that goes. So then this one goes on top. Like so. So Latte finally calmed down. She's probably napping now in her little bed. And then this will be the back. So if you're using different patterns, if you chose something different, just be careful if it's got writing or something that would look upside down when you turn it to the back. This, it doesn't matter. It's kind of snowflakes and flurries and flourishes, so it's not going to matter. But it might if you pick something else. So now this is going to go here, but we need to put our Christmas on here. Pull this back over. So just going to kind of line this up. So this should basically take up the whole space on your block here. Make sure you've punched out anything in between on the letters. All right, and then I'm just going to put dabs of glue in strategic places, making sure I get, you know, the very tops, the very bottoms of the letters. And if you had a Xyron machine, this will be the perfect time to use that. I'm sure someone has already been screaming that. I don't ever get mine out to use it anymore. I should. Would make quick work of this. All right, so just make sure, put some pressure on every piece of it because it's going to stick to the first thing that it touches. Cute. So then here's my teeny tiny dot. So I'm going to put a dot of glue above my eye. Put this here. There we go. All right, I'll make sure I push it down. Like I said, you could also use one of those pieces of bling. Okay, I'm just going to double check. Yeah, this is the right side. And just like that, we've got our blocks made. I hope you enjoyed this process. I think it was a lot of fun. And I can't wait for my 18-month-old granddaughter, probably next Christmas, for her to figure out how to use this countdown. I have quite a few countdowns in different rooms of the house, so this will be the first time I made one, so this will be fun. So this is what it will look like. Of course, it's leaned down, but of course it'd be standing up like this so that you can see it. But then you could do like 22 days, 21 days, 28 days. You should be able to, like I said, it's countdown from 32 on down to 1 day. So I hope you enjoyed this process and this video. I've really enjoyed making it with you. So when we come back tomorrow, we're going to get started on the folio. And don't forget, sometime during this process, I'm not sure what video, if you don't have glassine bags, we're going to be making some from copy paper. Just going to be making some bags there, so you don't have to have the glassine bags if you don't want to pick those up. All right, I'll see you back here, guys, this time tomorrow. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you, guys. Bye.